Selena's footsteps echoed in the dark alley. It was midnight and the city was shrouded in silence. Returning from her friend's house, Selena chose to take a shortcut through the narrow streets of the old neighborhood. She tightly gripped her bag and began to walk briskly. A few minutes later, she heard faint footsteps behind her. At first, she tried to ignore the sound, thinking perhaps someone else was also heading in the same direction. However, the footsteps grew louder and more distinct. Selena began to suspect she was being followed. She paused for a moment and looked back. In the darkness, she saw a vague silhouette. She immediately picked up her pace, and her pursuer did the same. Selena's heart raced. She pulled out her phone, intending to call the police, only to find its battery had died. At an upcoming bend, she decided to hide in an old storage room. Leaving the door slightly ajar, she entered and held her breath. When her pursuer reached the bend, he lost sight of her. After searching around for a while, he turned back and disappeared from view. When Selena reached her home, she quickly locked the door and drew the curtains. She was still trembling from the terrifying experience. Feeling safe in her home, she took a glass of water and went to the living room. Taking a deep breath, she replayed the night's events in her mind. After a while, she noticed slight movement outside. Approaching the window, she saw a shadowy figure in the darkness. It was her pursuer. The man was watching her from outside the window. Selena's heart felt like it would stop. When their eyes met, a chilling smile appeared on the man's face. Selena immediately grabbed her phone and called the police. She quickly explained the situation and asked for help. The pursuer continued to wait outside the window. Selena decided to hide somewhere inside her house. However, after a while, she noticed the movement outside had stopped. Looking out the window again, she saw the man had left. A few minutes later, the police arrived. Selena recounted the night's events in detail. The police began to review security camera footage from the area to identify the man. Selena decided to spend the night at a friend's house, feeling unsafe in her own home. The next day, the police identified the pursuer from the security footage. He was a man with a criminal record for similar offenses. After this harrowing experience, Selena decided to install security systems in her home. That night, she realized that safety is never guaranteed. A few days later, when Selena returned home, she found an envelope at her doorstep. Her name was written on it, but there was no sender's name. Inside, she found a short handwritten note. "I'm watching you." Chills ran down Selena's spine. She had a hunch about who sent it. The next day at the same time, she found another note. "You can't escape." Selena took these notes to the police. They examined them and decided to run a fingerprint analysis. However, no fingerprints were found on the notes, indicating the professionalism of her pursuer. As days passed, the notes increased. Each note filled Selena with more dread. Messages like, "I'll find you wherever you go," and "My eyes are always on you." Disturbed by this, Selena decided to leave the city for a while. However, when she reached her out-of-town residence, she found another note. "Wherever you go, I'm always with you." This was the last straw for Selena. She approached the police again and requested protection. The police set up a covert observation point near Selena's house to catch the pursuer. A few days later, as the pursuer approached Selena's house, he was apprehended by the police. He was a man with a history of similar crimes and had become obsessed with Selena. After this incident, Selena sought therapy to address her trauma. Over time, she managed to overcome her fears and resumed her life.